Cuba policy shift is not currently among President Biden's top priorities, but we are committed to making human rights a core pillar of our U.S. policy.
All right, let's get some analysis. Professor of Latin American History over at the University of Nottingham, Anthony Capcia, joins us now from the UK. Professor, good to have you on the show. You just heard the White House press secretary there, Jen Psaki, saying that, a major policy shift in Cuba shouldn't be expected. So my question to you is, where do they start? Because, the last days of the Trump administration, Cuba was actually put in the same category as Syria, as Iran, as North Korea. Could it be that them taking off the terrorism list, it could be a first start?
I think that would be a very good start and an easy one to do, actually. Often there is a lot that President Biden can't do, any president can't do, but he could quite easily decree the change to that list and remove Cuba from the list. It was effectively put on the list by presidential decree, so it can be removed from it. And I know most of Western Europe, for example, actually wants that to happen.
Okay. What do you think the cost of disengaging from Cuba will be for the United States?
Disengaging in what sense? Do you mean giving up on what Obama started?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. There isn't actually a massive cost. One of the interesting things is that Cuba ceased to be important for the United States foreign policy, for example, decades ago. Its main importance has actually been very cynical, has actually been in national elections every 2 years, with the state of Florida becoming increasingly important and the vote of the Cuban American community crucial in that. So the cost could actually be electoral in some respects, one way or another. But in many respects, one of the reasons why Obama actually changed the policy and began and fully recognized Cuba was because the United States was being isolated within the Summit of the Americas, with a threat to boycott the meeting by many other states if he did not change. So it was actually more to do with relations with Latin America than relations with Cuba.
All right. I do have to admit, the reason why I asked that question was kind of a setup for this question. When I was talking about the cost of disengaging, I was trying to maybe sort of open up the door to ask a question about whether or not China could play a more active role in this region.
China already is playing a active role in the region, economically more than anything else. The role of China in Cuba is interestingly not as great as one might imagine. The role of Russia is probably still much more important, and indeed, it's something of a commercial battleground between Russia and China as to who can actually get in and stay in before the embargo is eventually at some stage in the distant future lifted. So China is a player, but it's a player in all sorts of narrow ways, in, for example, transport, in the modernization of the train system has China very interested. Oil has China very interested indeed, but that's about it. It's not as great as one might expect.
All right, fair enough. All right, Professor Anthony Capcia, thank you very much for joining us here on the NewsHour. I do appreciate your analysis.